You don't need a brand new boat for a brand new experience on the water. If you're thinking refit instead of a new boat, this episode's for you. You're watching the Southern Boating and Yachting Podcast. I'm Ian Sneed.
I'm James Anderson.
And we're going to talk about bringing some new soul to an old hull. If you're looking to buy a vessel, you want to find something that has good bones on it that allows you to refit it, because the first tip we're going to give, we'll touch on it in a minute, is budget. You can bring a new life to a vessel.
Absolutely.
Using smart upgrades, using maybe new technology. Maybe it's new soft goods. I don't know.
So, yeah, because there's going to be things that you like about an older boat, but maybe some of the technology that you may not like, right?
Exactly.
And options that you wish that somebody else would have put on that boat.
So before we get started, click like, click subscribe, hit the notification bell icon. That way you're notified every time we come out with a new video. And with that, let's talk about, I think, the most important part of this conversation.
It all starts with a budget.
That's right.
Right? It's got to start with a budget.
Exactly.
You desperately need to really sit down, think about how much you're willing to spend, what you're willing to put into a project. And from there, you can start doing a lot more research.
Well, yeah, because you also you're going to end up with two lists of things that you must have. Great point. And things that would be nice to have.
Right.
And the thing is,
you want your needs versus wants.
Exactly. And there's no vessel that's going to have 100% of both, right? Mm-hmm. So that must-haves has to truly be must-haves. We always start with that list super long, and then eventually we realize, oh, I could probably do without that. That would just be nice. That would just be nice. And then you have like 3 to 4 main things on your must-haves. And I think that's really the approach you want to take when you're looking at, okay, budget-wise, if you're looking to just refit a vessel you already own, or you're in the market for a new one, those top 4 things, those are the ones that you really want to drive home. And then all the other nice to haves, mm-hmm. or would be nice, I don't know, people use different phrases. That's secondary. But that will help you when it comes to identifying, okay, I know what my budget is. I know I can find these must-haves within this budget. What else can I find on my nice to have list that would be within that budget?
Yeah, now can I start filling in and knowing those? And I would prioritize my wants, my nice to haves, because then you can actually make it easier to determine what's next on the agenda. I've got a little budget room left. What's next? Over time, this doesn't have to be done all at once. I think that's the other key aspect that a lot of people are going to miss, right? Yeah, some of it is going to get done in a big group, right? Like repowering, but over time, you can start adding in some of these little creature comforts. And that's an important aspect to think about when you're putting this budget together. Okay, so I might have a starting budget and then a budget that carries into the next 6 months, year and a half, whatever it may be.
And so having phases, not just in what you're going to do. So let's say you buy a vessel that has your must-haves and 2 or 3 of your nice-to-haves, but then you have this list of other things that would be nice to have. Well, part of your budget you can allocate to upgrading those areas. Mm-hmm. And that might be in phase 2, right? Or phase 3, where mm-hmm. a little bit down the line, okay, I really want to make this change. I want to add this technology, but I'm going to leave all the soft goods till like next spring. So you might have multiple phases that can be dictated by your budget, or mm-hmm. vice versa. Your phases will dictate the budget according to the phase itself. One point I want to make is a proficient surveyor will help you figure out what the list of work would be. Yeah. So your work list for the vessel.
I would never, ever, and if you're financing a boat, they won't let you buy a boat without getting a survey done. Right. But I would never buy a boat, period, that's been used, loved, pre-owned, whatever we want to call it, without getting a survey, because they are going to be an immense help for you, especially if you're not a super experienced boat buyer. And they are going to help you prioritize things if you explain to them, listen, I'm not looking for something in perfect condition. I'm going to be doing a refit of some sorts. So when we go over this, can you help me prioritize maybe what needs to be done? The other aspect that I want to bring up about a survey is I would prefer to use a surveyor that I know somebody else has previously used, so I can get firsthand experience from them, talking to my friend that's used a surveyor, of what their experience was. Because there's good, there's bad, there's in the middle, and you want to know what you can expect out of your surveyor before you let him get started.
Yeah, you don't want to end up getting a vessel or making changes to your vessel based off of bad advice.
And ask him, be like, do you have a checklist? What do you go through? What's your process? Mm-hmm. Have a bunch of questions lined up for him before you hire him to send him on. So you know up front what to expect. and be clear with what you're going to be doing, because then he might change part of his process to fit what you're looking for. And that's a very important thing.
Now, this will also help you determine whether you're going to be looking for parts that are OEM, whether you're looking for upgrades to the traditional OEM, but it might not be like top of the line, or whether you're really going top of the line on your upgrades, right? So not just your budget, but also the feedback that you get from that surveyor might dictate, okay, this is how I want to prioritize these different things. The 5 categories that I have listed down, we'll start with the first one. Well, actually, let me run through them real quick. Propulsion and generators, so mechanical equipment. Fluid analysis, what needs work. Technology, and then I wrote down support power and comforts. And then I have some final takeaways. For mechanical equipment, regarding propulsion, regarding generators, what is pristine? What needs work? What do you need to maybe revamp? What do you need to replace?
Yeah, and this could be a whole repower situation depending on the boat that you may be looking at. But then there's a lot to consider if you're going to do some repowering. Do I want to go with the same? Do I want more power? You know, there's a lot of different options today. So you have to have these pre-thought out and discuss them again with the surveyor.
And you might have a vessel that has good outboards or good engines or whatever your propulsion
don't have many hours on them, hardly at all. Maybe it's
right?
already been repowered once and you don't need to do that work.
But I think another thing people forget is idle time. Maybe it's had too much idle time and it needs some
too
stuff.
long.
Yeah.
I mean, the boats, if you have a boat, you got to use it.
You do.
If you don't use it, that's when things really start to break.
And so that's a second thing to look at when you're looking at your propulsion of whatever vessel you're looking at. It's important to keep that in mind because maybe you just need to do a little bit of work on the engines that are already there. You don't need to repower. Or maybe you don't even want to repower. You're not looking for the technology upgrades and you just want what's there. You just want to make sure it works. Okay.
Right.
Look at it.
You just want to recondition it.
You got to double check. So fluid analysis was the second subject.
This goes from water injections, cooling systems, recirculating, raw water pickups. What condition are they in? Do they need to be replaced? Do they not need to be replaced? Do I want to upgrade certain systems there to make it more friendly for the style in which I'm going to use the vessel? I think one of them we talked about even is changing your head systems. Are you using raw water? Do you want to use fresh water? What's your preferences there?
This also provides a lot of easy DIY where you'll actually get to know your vessel pretty well because you just have to replace hoses, belts, things of that nature, and you can actually start to understand what you're looking at.
I always say these are some things that if you don't know how to do them, learn how to do them because it's better for you to learn during this process to learn in an emergency situation.
Absolutely.
And that's really important to think about. Be involved in this process, even if you're hiring contractors to do some of the work.
Now, if you're liking some of these tips, make sure you hit the like button so that we know this is the kind of content you want to see, or you can leave a comment and let us know which of these tips you prefer. Let's move on to technology. I think technology, huge category. And you see new technologies in new vessels all the time. Everyone's trying to, it's almost like an arms race in technology. You know what I'm saying?
Well, technology is always moving really, really fast, right? In the last 5 years, we've seen integrations of really cool technology being used in the boats.
This is definitely your ideal category.
Yeah, there's so much that you can do, but along with this also comes in the background because this is all powered electronic equipment too. So you really have to be careful to know because if you have some of these once and it might be, I want new MFDs, but what goes into powering those MFDs? Do you have that capability? So you need to really, again, go back to the surveyor, explain to him what you want to do, what your plans are, because he's going to look at this and advise you properly because you need to do X before you can do this.
Because we're talking autopilot, we're talking navigation, we're talking MFDs. If you want new MFDs that are bigger than the space that you previously had, that means you're going to have to cut some space out for it. Like there's a lot of little things that go into it.
What does it take to power all of this? Like electronics,
you want to make sure that the VHF radio that you have is working. And if it's not, you want to upgrade that and get a new one for that. Are you adding internet? Like, are you on a vessel that doesn't have internet and you want to add something like Starlink? Okay, what goes into that? Who are you going to install that? Because that's not something I would play with myself.
Exactly right.
But I mean, you might be brave enough to. I'm not. I'll admit that.
But when it comes down to wiring it, that's one of the things that I don't like to do. Setting up of things, installing it, yes. But the actual wiring and installation, never been my favorite thing to do.
Now, what's interesting though is that some people, they do have that like inclination where they like doing the electronic stuff, and they've made some really cool refits to their vessels. So if you want to leave a comment or leave a link and let us know what's the coolest refit you've seen.
Yeah, maybe some before and afters.
Yes.
I'd love to see some before and afters.
That would be fantastic. And I'm going to throw this tip in. Make sure you're taking photos of your refit also so that you can see before and after. Because a lot of times, especially if it's a multi-phase process where it's not going to be done in like 6 months, right? It might take a year or two. Like you're looking at that process 2 years later, you're like, did I even do anything? If you have photos, you can see what that changes, and you're going to appreciate the process.
And one of the things we didn't mention about electronics is going from, if it's an older vessel, mechanical operation to electronic operations. We're talking about the controls. You know, that's a huge thing because especially me personally, I would want to switch to electronical because adding additional helm stations becomes so much easier. And those parts are so widely available now, so many different options that you can basically have whatever you want.
And all of that brings us to a point that you touched on, which is the support power, which is the fourth point that I have, the fourth grouping that I have.
Yes.
Because the thing is, you might be making these upgrades and then realize you don't have enough power. You might need new batteries, you might need more batteries, you might need inverters. There's a whole slew of things that can come with these upgrades where that support power piece is extremely important. And in my opinion, you probably want to get an ABYC marine electrician to 100%. Help you with that process.
100%. Always go to a certified professional. There's a reason that they're certified.
Yes.
You can be almost guaranteed the quality of the work.
Not just that, but it's going to be compliant with modern standards, and it's going to be integrated when it comes to the installation part. And then finally for me is the comforts. Some of these comforts, I have a list. Galley appliances. If you're an entertainer, right? If you like entertaining on your vessel, you're going to want to consider maybe galley appliance upgrades. That could be anything from the cooktop, fridges, dishwasher if there's space. And if not, maybe a little bit of carpentry work where now you do have space. You want to see how you can upgrade, say, the cockpit or the bow area. Maybe it's new cushions. Maybe it's
doing some reupholstery work.
Reupholstery work. That's where my brain was going. Thank you, because I completely forgot the word as I was speaking. You touched on it also, the heads, right?
Yes. I mean, that's a big one, right? A lot of people in the past, we've used raw water at a certain age and vessel. You'll find more raw water than freshwater flush. And it's got a distinct kind of smell to it, right? Yes. That raw water, you smell it. Yes. It's you know what it is instantly. And
then next is stabilizers. You can do fin stabilizers, and there's different types. You have hydraulic, you have pneumatic, you have electronic, you have your gyros, which could be AC or DC powered. And the benefits are, well, if you're going offshore, you're going to want a stabilizer. If you have guests that are prone to being seasick, that will make their lives much easier.
There's a lot to decide there. It goes from size to weight of vessel to what you're doing with your vessel. Fin stabilizers are usually larger vessels, and that's why they're underway that they get stabilized. Gyro stabilizer is can be large vessels as well, but that also works while a boat's standing still.
And I think you're right. This is dependent on the use of the vessel, not just the size, but the use of the vessel. How are you going to use the vessel?
Right. And then there's a third kind right now, like the Humphreys and the and Seakeeper Ride, that are like the trim tab style stabilizers that are automatic, right? And that's a different style as well. So you have to determine what type do you want, why do you want it, and where do you need it. And then you can determine and budget too. I mean, these are all different budgets.
Oh, absolutely.
Vastly.
And then one thing that I didn't put on here was, if the vessel that you're buying is, say, for fishing, but it doesn't have that much fishing gear, how easy would it be to add things that you want to make it more of your fishing vessel? Or if you're not using it for fishing, but it does have some fishing gear and you don't like how it looks, would it be hard to take it off or to replace it with something? Like, those are aesthetic elements.
Do you have rod holders? Yes or no?
Right.
In the gunnels, can you add rod holders, right? Yes or no?
Exactly.
Do you have a rocket launcher? Yes or no? How easy is it to add it to a T-top? Do you not have a T-top? Do you need to add a T-top? Right? There's a lot of different things.
Are you buying something where you want to put a fighting chair in? Like, there's different things like that.
If you go for a sport fisherman,
Some final tips and takeaways, and then we'll recap it real quick. I would say have a boat show strategy. Go to a boat show because there's a lot of things that you can do at a boat show.
Well, and it's a perfect place to experience both new and brokerage boats.
Oh, and I'm not even talking about the boats part. I'm talking about the refit part where you're looking, you can go to the accessory vendors.
And that's the other part to it.
And you can see what's new out there or what options do you have for your refit plan.
What's available to you.
And you can maybe even get a good deal at a boat show because a lot of times they want you to say yes, right? They want their product on your vessel. So it's a really good way to connect with the right people.
I think the other thing along with that, with the boat shows, I love boat show shopping because you can actually get a hands-on feel, speak with somebody that's trained on that product, but also doing a lot of research. You might actually, by doing your research, have additional questions for a representative that you get to meet at a boat show.
It's very true. Now, a quick, simple recap. Start with the budget, get a survey. Address the propulsion, generators, and fluids first. Upgrade technology at the helm. Build the support power through batteries, through inverters. And then finish with comfort upgrades that make the boat feel new. And one thing I forgot about that, you can always get you can always paint the hull. You can always get a wrap. There's a lot of different things you could do to make the vessel extra. Because whenever you get something done to your car, for example, if you get your car painted or if you get a wrap on your car, even though nothing changes internally, the second you get in, it feels like you're in a new car again. And the same thing happens
Gives you that new feeling.
Yeah, it does. And the same thing happens with boats. So that's one thing I forgot to touch on.
When you start doing all of these refits and different projects on your boat, it just helps reinvigorate your love for your vessel. And that's what's so cool about this.
If you know somebody that's in the market shopping for boats, share this video with them.
Absolutely.
And hopefully they get some benefit because the whole point of this is for you guys to benefit anyway. That's it for me.
That's it for me. Yeah. Till next time, I'm James Anderson.
I'm Ian Sneed.
We'll see you next week.